Well, it's no secret, Idaho certainly has a history of extremism, domestic terrorism, and white supremacy. But never before have the terms transnational terrorism or terrorgram collective have been linked to Idaho. That is until this month. A Boise man was extradited to California this week for allegedly helping coordinate terrorist activities in Europe, thus the transnational terrorism charge. And he did it over the messenger app Telegram, according to the U.S. Attorney for Idaho, thus the terrorgram collective. According to this indictment, this group, under the direction of Matthew Allison from Boise, didn't just talk about doing stuff online. They actually caused violence to happen. Joe Paris sat down with U.S. Attorney Josh Hurwit to learn about the case and how it fits into a bigger picture.
A Boise man faces charges for his alleged involvement in leading the Terrorgram Collective, a transnational terrorist group operating on the Telegram platform.
These are alleged to be white supremacists who believe in accelerationalism, so they want to have a race war by white people against non-white people.
Josh Hurwit is the U.S. Attorney for the District of Idaho. His office is part of a multi-agency investigation into the Terrorgram Collective.
And they have solicited and provided instructions and inspired certain attacks actually around the world.
Matthew Allison of Boise is charged with soliciting hate crimes, soliciting murder of federal officials, and conspiring to provide material support to terrorists who perpetrated 2 attacks in Europe.
There have been attacks overseas, one in Slovakia in particular, that was linked directly to this group, and as alleged that the leaders of Terrorgram celebrated as the results of their conduct.
Investigations like this are not unique to Idaho or even one area of the country. This is a front and center problem for Americans.
I think it does sadly fit with what we're seeing in the what we call the violent extremism realm. So the internet, social media is used by groups, individuals to not only convey their ideology and their messages, but actually to try to incite violence.
In Idaho, Hurwit explains that this has been seen in 2 different directions.
We've seen individuals who have gone down a rabbit hole, so to speak, of extremism and become radicalized and then sought to do violence. This is sort of on the other side, from the other direction. These are a collective, right, Terrorgram, working together to try to actually cause other people to commit violence and other crimes.
Extremist groups use social media, private messaging apps, and covert digital communications to coordinate. It's a serious symptom that investigators follow. It's not just trolling online for attention.
When we talk about internet trolling, we think of just rude comments, or at least I do, rude comments online that are frankly protected by the First Amendment. So we don't, at the Department of Justice and our law enforcement partners, this is true of them as well, we don't police speech and thought and nasty comments online. But words can be used to commit crimes, and that's what we see in some of the cases involving what we call, again, violent extremism, where people are trying to cause violence by soliciting murders, things like that, or making direct threats of violence. That's also unlawful.
Extremism, hate, and violent rhetoric are in the mainstream on a daily basis. But Hurwit believes these are not just things we need to adjust to and put up with.
I don't like to think of it that way. I like to think of it as it's a problem that we need to attack collectively. We've, as a nation, right, struggled with racism and white supremacy throughout our history. Idaho is no different, but I also think that in Idaho we've shown that we can stand up to neo-Nazi groups and violent extremists, and it's time to do that again.
Hurwit added, talking about things like white supremacy in the media and as a community, it's a major step in addressing these problems. A community problem that can be dealt with, he says. Matthew Allison is now awaiting a court date in Sacramento to face those 15 federal charges.